episode is going over the different methods of planting that are seen around the world, and I'm going to start with somewhere familiar, the Three Sisters Garden. And a Three Sisters Garden is a method of interplanting that was developed by the Native Americans all over the United States. It was a very common practice, known very widely among the Western United States and in Mexico, and in many different parts of North America. I don't know about South America, maybe there too. But so the Three Sisters Garden is a method of interplanting, as we went over in last episode, where you plant corn, squash, and beans all in the same plot. And so these plants actually help each other in a multitude of different ways. So you plant the corn as a staple. So each of these different crops fulfill different needs in terms of nutrition and in terms of soil health. So in terms of nutrition, this garden provides you with grain, it provides you with protein from the beans, it provides you with sugars and starches from the squash. It provides a complete meal in a relatively small space. And none of these plants compete with each other, which is the best part. They all help each other. So corn has a tendency to have roots that at the very top are exposed to air, and oftentimes they can dry out in drier areas where there's lots of wind, which is what corn needs in order to pollinate. So the squash kind of shades it out so that the plant is not struggling as much for water retention, and the squash isn't shaded by the corn because it's very singular stalked. And the beans love the corn. The beans are climbing beans, and so they'll wrap around the corn, and you can harvest the beans off of the corn, individual corn stalks, while the corn is growing, and it does not impede the growth of your corn. And so planting all three of these things together increases your production in your spaces, and there are a myriad of benefits for your soil as well.
Exactly, like, as you explained, benefits, right? Exactly what type of benefits do it?
So for the soil, the Three Sisters method, so beans and peas are legumes, and legumes are what's referred to as like a nitrogen fixer, and it can help like either sequester or bring up nitrogen and store it in its leaves, and this can make these nutrients more readily available for the plants that have a harder time extracting it, like corn, which needs a lot of nutrients and needs a good fixed nitrogen rate. It needs a lot of nutrients to produce, and that's what the beans bring to the table. And squash is an excellent, as I said, it shades out the soil, which protects the soil microbes, and it provides a safe area for your soil to live without being burned up by the sun. And so all of these factors make for a really healthy soil, and it really makes it so that you can produce all of your garden staples and all your main garden needs within the space that you have. Another common method of gardening is the keyhole method, and this was actually developed in I think it was South Africa, and this was a method centered around composting. And we mentioned composting in the last two episodes, have focused heavily on it in the last episode, and composting is the process of turning green waste and biological matter, organic matter, into fertilizer. And what the keyhole gardening method does is it places one central compost bin in the center of a planting bed. And so and it continues to provide nutrients to your beds even while you're not fertilizing it. So you don't have to spread organic matter over and over again at the end and the beginning of the season. Instead, you're having this constant flow of nutrition entering your beds through the keyhole. And usually this is a very circular design, and the circular design actually allows for a lot of visibility in your garden beds. So you can see your plants better, you can interplant more, and you can have just a healthier garden system that's all fueled by one center compost system.
Would you say it's more better for certain people, or?
So if you don't have the space for a composting bin, but you do have the space for a gardening bed, it is a fantastic option because it reduces the amount of space that you need, and it provides more nutrients to your bed, or it provides nutrients to your bed quicker, very, very immediately. So the way that you would set one of these up is that you'd have your bed, and you can put something in the middle like chicken wire or predator wire in a cavity in the center, and then you just start filling that up with food waste, and every once in a while you kind of smash it around with a long sturdy stick so that you can get air in there. And as it breaks down, the animals and the bugs that are in your soil will eat the stuff that's put into the keyhole and will spread it out through your garden beds. And so you're working really with the animals and with the bugs that are already in your system to create extremely healthy soil. So it saves space if you don't have space for a garden bed and a compost bin, while also providing nutrients to your plant quickly. So I think it's a perfect option for small gardeners. Yeah, so one moving away from small gardens and moving towards more permanent, maybe medium or larger scale gardens is hugelkultur. And hugelkultur is a German method of planting, and it basically means mound culture, or like hole culture, and it's like a lump kind of hill esque. And so you started out by digging a divot into the ground and filling that divot with sticks and big chunks of wood, and then building up a hill shape with wood. And then on top of that, you put like leaf litter, garden shavings, and organic matter. Um, and then on top of that, you would put a bunch of soil. But the combination of these sticks and those leaves and that grass and all that organic material and the dirt breaks down into a very permanent and very nutrient dense bed. It's very permanent that will last for decades. It might not have like an exact border to it. You can add a border if you'd like to it, but it's fantastic for adding visual appeal and texture in your garden. Some people are against putting logs in the ground because they believe that they take too long to break down, but the whole point of this structure is that it takes so long. So these nutrients will be available for decades to come. So the trees that are in the ground provide homes for the bugs and the microbes and the bacteria that are fueling your soil, so that you have this soil and you have this available culture for decades. So it is a very permanent structure. Miyawaki method is actually is quite a recent development, and his method comes from Japan, and it's a method of densely planting trees to make tiny orchards and tiny dense forests that are food productive. So you could have you get 5 different citrus and then a few stone fruit. If you were to listen to normal planting guides, they would tell you to place them about maybe 10 feet apart, maybe more, at least 10 feet apart, so that they have enough, quote, enough room to spread out. But with the Miyawaki method, it's really good for densely packing in like trees. So you would space them much shorter, maybe 5 feet apart, and you would keep the trees short and thin.
Thanks for listening to our podcast.
This is Brianna Vet.
And this is Jackson.